Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Bedford Township Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting for July 1st, 2019. And I would like the board to introduce themselves.
Kyle Dersch, citizen at large.
Jake Kovach, Vice Chair.
George Welling, Chairman.
Tom Zebek, Planning Liaison.
Rick Steiner, Township Board.
Dennis Kohler, Building Inspector.
Phil Goldsmith, Township Attorney.
Jody Rector, Planning and Zoning.
Okay, at this time, Mr. Steiner, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure will.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Jody, would you please do a roll call?
Yes. Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Zebek?
Aye.
Mr. Lake?
Here.
Mr. Dersch?
Aye.
Mr. Welling?
Aye.
All present?
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as it's printed.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as stated.
Second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. And I would like to entertain a motion for approval of the minutes from June 3rd, 2019.
Actually, I have a note that needs to be adjusted.
Go ahead.
So, splitting hairs a little bit, but on page 5, fourth paragraph down, second to last sentence, I think we were referring to Mr. Welling when we said Mr. Potter.
Oh, thank you.
Still got to do something once in a while to get back.
You better look in the Potter.
Could you tell me where that's at again?
I'm
Okay,
sorry, what's that?
Where it was located at?
Oh, sure, page 5, fourth paragraph down, second to the last sentence.
okay, with that correction noted, entertain a motion for approving the minutes of June 3rd, 2019.
Make a motion, we approve with the correction of Mr. Potter to Mr. Welling.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hey, George,
Yes, sir.
you know what? You didn't get a second on that.
Yeah, I thought we already did. Well, let's do it again.
Mr. Lake had, so I'll go ahead and second it.
Second? That's okay with everybody? All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Okay, number 6, new business. Entertaining a motion to open the public hearing regarding the appeal of Kent Kovach and Beverley Taylor, 950 Fairfield, Temperance, Michigan.
I'll make a motion to open the appeal of Kent Kovach and Beverley Taylor of 950 Fairfield, Temperance, Michigan.
I'll second.
Support. Go ahead, Jake.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Jody, fill us in, please.
Again, the applicant is Beverly Taylor and Kent Kovach, 950 Fairfield, Temperance, Michigan, 48182. Authorization to speak on Beverly's half is Kent Kovach, parcel number 5802-023-08905 on approximately .372 acres, R3, single-family residentially zoned, and requesting a plus or minus 5-foot front yard setback.
Excuse me, Jody, could you pull that mic closer to you, please? Thank you.
The applicant is seeking a 5-foot front yard setback variance to construct a 20 by 32 garage to an existing home with a legal nonconforming front yard setback of 49 feet from the center of the road. The schedule of regulations requires a front yard setback in an R3 single-family residential zoning district, 25 feet from the road right-of-way, 30 feet from the center of the road, for a total of 55 feet, thus requiring the 5-foot front yard setback. At this time, no letters or calls of objection have been received. However, the applicant has supplied letters of no objection signed by 11 neighboring property owners. And I did include a map with those, and there were a couple names I couldn't determine in the system. Also, I did speak with the applicant, and the accessory building that's existing
To the east.
on the map, that's the 16 by 20. I was advised that that will be demoed.
Thank you. Mr. Kovach, did you want to come up and talk? unless you have another representative. I need your name and your address, please.
Kent Kovach, 950 Fairfield, Temperance.
Do you have anything to add to Jody's description?
No, the only thing to say as far as we're requesting a 5-foot variance or setback, but actually, I'm not going to extend out as far as the house is right now. I don't know what's happened as far as the road right away or what, because the adjoining properties we're all the same, we're all 3 foot shy of the 55-foot setback requirement. So actually, I'm asking for 2 feet.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Anybody in the audience care to speak on this matter? If that, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion amongst the board?
Mr. Welling?
Yes.
As the applicant has stated, and we've seen this a number of times, the proposed garage is not out as far as the front porch and for lack of a better term, the front of the home that, what I want to say, protrudes out on the left-hand side of the home as you're facing the home. So the garage isn't going to come out any further. This is not a real difficult issue in my mind. The applicant is going to tear down the current building, which is in the northeast side. I'll just ask real quick on Mr. Kohler that I think I know your answer, but I know adjoining structures cannot be too close to each other, but I'm sure he's probably talking about tearing the garage down after the new one's built. Is that going to be an issue that the other one's up before the other one is demoed?
No, it shouldn't be a problem as long as he demos it in a timely fashion.
Okay,
It's not an issue.
so what would your recommended timeline be once the new garage is completed, that the other one should be demoed by?
Kent, how long would it take you to tear that old one down?
Well, first of all, I gotta get the other one up and get the junk.
Stuff,
Right.
good stuff.
Hopefully, I'll be honest with you, Dennis, probably in the spring. Because you know what winter, where they. Excuse me. Could you go up to the podium so they can get you? No, it's my fault.
How far is it from the detached garage to the proposed garage?
Maybe 2 feet. That's pretty tight. Might only be a foot, Dennis, but they're real close. But as far as, if I have to have it down sooner, I'll get it down. When do you propose to build this new garage? Pardon? When do you propose building the new garage? When? Yes. As soon as I can get some drawings to Dennis and get started on it. Okay, so you're talking about doing that this year as quickly as Oh, you yeah, can? yeah, through the process? I want to, by end of September, I want, hopefully get this thing up and closed in. Maybe not all completely finished, but up and closed in. That's my goal, but unfortunately, things happen and it doesn't work that way all the time. But that's my plan, is to have a building up this year yet. I mean, I will say that would be my only concern of that other building, especially with only that limited distance in between it. What is it, Dennis? Is it 12 feet or
10 feet is what the ordinance
10
has
feet
for.
is normal in the ordinance, so and that's why I asked that question. The spacing between buildings like that would have to be at least the 10 feet. So we're really pushing the envelope, getting it down to a foot or two. Okay, I wasn't aware of that or didn't understand that.
How close is the neighbor's home to your detached garage?
Pardon, Dennis, I'm
How
sorry.
close is the neighbor's nearest building to your detached garage?
God, I don't know, probably their porch and stuff. It's behind the house, their house, and in front of their garage over there.
More than 10 feet from any building on their
Oh,
property?
yeah. I don't think there's any question at all on that.
The building code looks at 3 feet from the property line to a structure for separation for fire. We have to start rating the exterior walls of structures that are that close to the
So
property line.
you're talking for the new structure
So we're
going
looking for
up.
separation between buildings in general. So if he's got more than 10 feet from the existing detached garage, to the neighbor's nearest building, it's
For the new one.
suitably safe, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it's just, it would be just the current structure.
Correct.
That has to come down. There's a width of a paved driveway plus some grass between the detached building and their house. So to say 10 feet, I don't think there's any question at all. There's at least 10 feet there.
You could apply some drywall at the existing detached garage temporarily to protect the first 10 feet of that separation from building to building on your property. So where the detached garage and the
Yeah.
new garage,
Yeah.
drywall the first 10 feet that would be adjacent to each other.
For fire,
Fireproof it
okay.
if you don't want to demolish it at the same time you build it.
Well, maybe I'll have to find some way to empty that stupid thing and tear it down. It might be easier.
While you have the equipment there, right?
Because I don't know, to be honest with you, I really don't think I'd get far enough along this fall to have it even drywalled inside. I'd like to get the outside, the exterior up, but as far as the inside, I guess I could sheet it temporarily. I guess at this point here, you folks tell me what you need, and that's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
If nobody has anything else, I'll entertain a motion.
Just one more question for, the garage that's going up, that's going to be attached. The reason why it has the variance or requires the variance, I never heard what that was exactly, so I just want to have that for my notes here.
The reason you want to stay closer to the road than the minimum setback.
Right, rather than pushing it back.
To break the front
To-
appearance of the house, to set it out, to
Aesthetics.
break the roof line up so it doesn't look like there's a straight roof there.
Okay.
There's no other reason. It's just for appearance.
Fenestration, so that it'll actually improve the neighborhood around it, correct? I mean, that's what it is.
It's a good neighborhood.
Yep.
Did a nice job with what you have already. Still looking for a motion?
So let me ask one last question, Mr. Welling. You said you're a snowbird. About what time frame do you depart?
I usually, as soon as I can get the leaves picked up in the yard and out of the gutters,
Okay,
usually
so-
around 1st November.
I was going to say, don't say before the snow flies, because around here you never know.
Somewhere around, generally, end of October, 1st November.
Okay.
But that's not something that's etched in stone either. I spent too many winters working out in it. I want out of here. I don't want it anymore.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
I make a motion to approve the variance request at 950 Fairfield, property number 5802-023-089-05, for the 5-foot plus or minus front yard setback to construct a 20 by 32 garage on the existing home with these requirements. As the applicant stated, the new structure will be at least 10 feet from the neighboring property structure, basically the home to the east. Another stipulation would be for the existing garage, that the new structure, hopefully it's completed before he leaves for the winter, because I'm going to put a stipulation on that the existing structure must be down, and I will go as far as December 31, give you plenty of leeway between when you get done until you said you don't leave immediately. But it needs to be down before December 31 due to the fact that there's only going to be a 1 to 2 foot distance between the new structure and the old garage. And part of the issue is that the current home sets only at about a 49 to 50-foot setback, and this new garage will not exceed any further than the existing home. It'll actually be less, thus he's requesting that 5-foot plus or minus variance, and he does not encroach any closer to the street than the front of the home it currently does.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. May I suggest a friendly amendment?
You may.
That you do some drywall on that back wall, on the garage,
Yep.
where the old garage is?
Yeah, we can do that.
Accepted.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. Could we take the roll?
Mr. Steiner?
I'll say yes if she or he comes and does the landscape around my house to look like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Zebek?
Aye.
Mr. Lake?
Yes.
Mr. Dersch?
Aye.
Mr. Welling?
Aye.
Motion carried.
That's Mr. Welling.
Your landscape is beautiful over there, by the way.
It is.
Yeah. I do that. Okay. Now, the chair will entertain a motion to open a public hearing for the appeal of Zachary Westlund. That's 1456 Longfellow and Temperance.
Make a motion, we open the public hearing regarding the appeal of Zachary Westlund at 1456 Longfellow and Temperance.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Westland, are you here? Yes. Okay, Jody, could you go ahead and give the report?
Again, the applicant is Zachary Westlund, 1456 Longfellow Drive, Temperance, Michigan. Parcel number 580215-05800 on approximately 3.13 acres, R2A, single-family residentially zoned, requesting a 2.5-foot height variance to allow construction of a fence in a front yard located on a corner lot. The applicant is seeking a 2.5-foot height variance to construct a 6-foot fence in the front yard. The property consists of a .313 acres and has 2 front yards, as it is located on the corner lot of Longfellow Drive and Bryant Drive. Per section 400.1912 fences, 2A, number 1, fences within a front yard shall not exceed 3.5 feet in height and shall be restricted to decorative fences. The applicant has submitted a letter stating he would like to replace the split rail fencing with a 6-foot tall wooden privacy fence. The applicant has stated, due to the corner lot and having 2 front yards, to meet the ordinance requirements of a 3.5-foot fence, the split rail that's existing prevents him from obtaining any privacy within his backyard. At this time, no letters of objection have been received. However, the planning department received 1 call from the neighboring property owner voicing concern on the request height and could it cause any visual clearance issues. The applicant has supplied 2 letters of no objection to the planning department.
Thank you, Jody. Sir, would you like to come up to the podium, give your name and address? And I will ask if you have anything to add to Jody's description.
Zachary Westlund, resident, 1456 Longfellow, Temperance, Michigan. Nothing really further to say. I had the letters, the photographs, the diagrams, everything put in. Also had 2 of my neighbors, went door to door to my neighborhood, getting them to sign off and voice questions and concerns to me, or otherwise sign the letters that I've submitted in the packet. Otherwise, if you have any other further questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Does the board have any questions for?
Mr. Welling?
Yes.
So on a corner lot there, the visibility from the back of your home over to Tennyson, can you see Tennyson from where you're at?
Yes, you can actually see the intersection of Bryant and Tennyson Drive. You can also see directly catty corner of I can't remember the address, but I can see directly into their backyard, and if their blinds are open, their kitchen from my kitchen. So in return, they can see directly into my kitchen or my dining room through that way. And with Consumers Energy tearing down the trees that are back behind my yard because of the power line issue, I will have even less privacy once those are cut down, referring to the neighbors that are directly behind me.
I'll ask right now, anybody in attendance have anything to say about this variance request? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Go ahead,
Some sworn.
Mr. Lake.
So, okay, privacy, and then the other piece, just for my purposes here, I know Bryant kind of runs through a couple of pieces of the neighborhood there.
Correct.
Are any houses have the front of the house actually facing towards Bryant Street?
Negative. All are facing the paralleling streets, and Bryant Street is essentially an alleyway that's used for access to driveways.
Anybody else have anything?
I have a comment. I was at the property earlier this afternoon, and I parked in this gentleman's driveway, and I also parked parallel to Bryant Street. And then I see here that there was one property owner voiced a concern about the height. Could it cause a visual clearance issues? I think the fact that the fence is basically going to parallel Bryant does not create any visual clearance issues, but actually is what this gentleman is hoping to accomplish. That's just my comment and my observation.
I'm going to interrupt here a second and let people know that alarm that you're hearing is for the battery backup for the internets. We don't know. Give it a kick, Lori. That's all I can say. Yeah. Anybody else?
One
This
more
one's great.
question. The current fence, I mean, what kind of condition it is? Is it needing replacement at this time? or-
Yes, it's degraded at best right now. I don't think it was ever treated before, or if it was treated, it was when it was initially installed. And right now, the split rails are rotted and moss covered, as well as the metal mesh that goes along with it is rusted and peeling off of that.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Zebek too, that when I drove by and looked at it, I don't see a sight, a visual impairment to any of the main roads. I mean, because it doesn't go out to the extension of Longfellow. It doesn't get over toward Tennyson because there's a home on Tennyson that abuts to his property. So his fence would basically stop at the property line of the home behind it. Excuse me. So there's no direct impairment there. I guess, you know, not a big concern of mine, but just aesthetically, give yourself, you got a little tight corner there. Just thought maybe angle your on more of a 45 away instead of that, giving yourself that wedge. So if you came,
Okay.
yeah, it's up to you. I mean, you know, it's just a thought. I mean,
Alright.
if you get your variance for what you've got, you can always angle that differently because you're not going to
Okay.
exceed the variance if you get this variance.
Okay.
Like to make a motion?
Please do.
Make a motion, we approve the variance request of plus or minus 2.5 feet on a fence height due to house being on a corner lot, having two front facing to a street. The other is privacy in the rear of the home. Tree line is going to be removed. This will replace that tree line from a privacy perspective. Bryant Street has no street-facing homes. It only is a pass-through. And then also the condition of the current fence, it is in need of replacement, and this is a suitable replacement for that fence.
Thank you.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Another discussion, could you please take a roll?
Mr. Lake?
Yes.
Mr. Zebek?
Yes.
Mr. Steiner?
Yes.
Mr. Dersch?
Aye.
Mr. Welling?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Next item is C under new business.
Look what I was talking about.
I think you would just block your own view from your own parking back and from your own driveway.
Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing regarding the appeal of Andrew Hoover, 750 Vienna Road, Temperance, Michigan.
I'll make a motion to open the appeal for Andrew Hoover at 750 Vienna Road, Temperance, Michigan.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Please, Jody.
Again, the applicant is Andrew Hoover, 750 Vienna Road, Temperance, Michigan. Parcel number 5802013-0200, 5 acres. Parcel zoned R2B, single-family residential, and the variance is to construct an accessory building in the front yard on a corner lot. The applicant is seeking a variance to construct a 32 by 56 accessory building in the front yard on a corner lot. The property consists of 5 acres and has 2 front yards, as is on the corner of Vienna Road and Minks Road. Currently, the applicant is building a home and is proposing 2 driveways for access. The proposed accessory building meets all required setbacks. However, per section 41903 accessory buildings shall not be erected in any minimum side yard setback nor in any front yard, thus requiring the variance to allow construction of an accessory building in the front yard. And if you look at the map I included, I have parentheses of Minks Road because that's the actual only portion of the road. It does not encroach on Vienna and the front yard. The applicant has indicated in the submitted letter, due to the topography of the property, the existing location of the electrical lines and the leach field is the best location. At this time, no letters or calls of objection have been received.
Thank you, Jody. Mr. Hoover, are you here? Please come up to the podium. Give your name and address.
My name is Andrew Hoover, and I'm building a house on 750 Vienna Road in Temperance, Michigan.
And do you have anything to add to what Jody gave us?
No, sir. She was pretty thorough.
Okay, anybody here have questions for Mr. Hoover?
Got a question, Mr. Welling?
Please.
The leach field, I'm looking at the drawing here. Obviously, when you go out there, you don't know what leach field is. But the leach field, in the diagram here, looks to be way up into the corner.
Yes, sir.
Now, the leach field is a part of the description as to why we're not going to have a setback behind the home. So I'm trying to understand, if it's in the front corner, how is that a difficulty?
Well, it just kind of shapes. It doesn't really affect it that much, but just with the lines going through for my leach field and that, it's kind of got to be out of the way for all my lines for the septic coming through.
So it's more the accessory building just can't be near the leach field, obviously. You don't
Right.
wanna
Yes.
impede upon it. Okay.
Plus, I don't know if this is really an accurate description of how big the leach field is.
I don't know if it is or not. Yeah,
It's
It makes
gonna
it
be
look really
40 by
tiny.
40.
Oh, 40, well, is that-
Yeah. Okay.
okay, thank
Okay.
you. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Hoover? Okay, if not, is there anybody in attendance that wanted to speak on this matter? Then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, does anybody have any other discussion? Mr. Clay?
So, some of the other things that I read about was the topography of the property. Care to go in a little bit of detail around, and I'm trying to get some of your input around the position of the building currently, the way it's drawn out, and the difficulties for being able to put it behind the line of the home.
Okay, so I'm going to be building the house up because with the floodplains, well, not really floodplains, but with the water levels and water tables, it's going to have to be built up higher. So with all the sloping and grading of the ground, it's going to, kind of affect it a little bit. I don't want all the water obviously running right into the pole barn.
Got a sneak question here, Mr. Welling.
Go ahead, Mr. Lake.
That's actually for Mr. Kohler. Dennis, I'm just curious from a grading perspective, I understand homes need to be at a certain level to avoid the water table. For an accessory building, what's the requirement there?
There's no real requirement for it. We usually suggest that you get a foot above the natural grade around it. And if he's filling his driveways in his home already, he might want to put the pole barn higher in that fill that he's bringing in. And then it also gives him privacy from Minks Road to his house. That's the other reason where the location is good. From a township care, we really don't want him storing stuff on the backside of the pole barn to hide it from his house. So parking trailers and different boats and stuff in the front yard then wouldn't be good. But, so it does provide privacy to him, but then, a lot of people hide stuff behind their pole barns, which then creates an issue, so that's the only thing that I see that's negative, but he has plenty of property out there.
Yes, it is.
And maybe keeping the driveway shorter is probably the other reason why he wants to put it where he is.
Yeah,
I mean, you gotta ask him why he has what he has.
with it, I want to be able to like come in my driveway and I can pull straight through my pole barn out onto Mink if I want to. When I have two garage doors, so I can pull directly right through.
Maximizing driveways and turnings.
All that stuff.
And the only other thing too is, the only other place to get away from this, and it's created by having 2 front yards again.
Correct.
The only other way to get that, you'd have to put that barn way back up behind the home, right where it says, the lettering says new home building permit. That barn would have to be way back there.
Right. And the reason his leach bed is where it is because that's the only place the property
Only
perked.
spot.
I'd say-
So
I was
the
just
property's
probably on
higher at Minks Road, so the barn would be better there, but the house is still set back, so, like I said, there's no neighbors to negatively impact anywhere around there. I don't know where your nearest neighbor is, gotta be hundreds of
it'd
feet
be-
away,
Yeah, it'd be a couple
Yeah.
hundred
quarter
feet.
mile away.
There's
Yeah.
quite a ways to the west.
And my closest neighbor, he's got like 50-foot pine trees down his whole side. Can't even see in my yard.
It's not, I don't say negative thing for the neighbors, that's for sure.
Any other discussion or questions? If that's so, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the requested variance at 750 Vienna Road, property number 5802-013-002-00, whereas the applicant is seeking the variance to construct a 32 by 56 accessory building in the front yard on a corner lot. Basically a corner lot. This home that's to be built will have 2 front yards, which creates the problem. The current property with the water table where it's at today leaves the room to the front southeast corner is where the leach field is going to be. The pole barn will be set from a driveway that enters off of Minks Road to the east side. The home is going to have to be backfilled and raised due to the water table. There is also electric lines that run through the property, and also for the applicant to put his septic tank placement, we will also have issues there. And that's the reason for the approval. And I will also add that it will not have any direct effect on any neighboring properties, especially from the distances from the road that he's proposing.
I'll support.
Thank you. Can we take the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Zebek?
Aye.
Mr. Lake?
Yes.
Mr. Dersch?
Aye.
Mr. Welling?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Sir.
Got a lot of work. Now it's time for public comment. All the people in the room, anybody have a comment they'd like to pass on?
The only thing that I have,
Need you at the podium, sir. And start with your name and address, please.
Jim Brown, 1497 Longfellow Drive. I live adjacent to Mr. Westlund. The biggest concern that we had is in the description, it says tall fence in the front yard, okay? It would have been put on there that his house faces 2 front yards because of the way it's on the street. may have been less confusing for a lot of the people that live around there. A lot of people are saying, well, they had the assumption that the line was gonna run, the fence was gonna run along Longfellow and then back towards his house, because the house faces the front of Longfellow. And we didn't take into fact that Bryant also could be considered up front because it's just a drive-through. So I don't know if that's something we can do for the future, but it's just
Can I
something
comment to him?
we had to consider. We have no problem with him putting in the front, but just the idea of maybe clarifying it. I mean, you did, when she went through the description, she just described it as two, but in everything else, it just describes it as one, so.
Did you have a comment, Tom?
Yes, I totally agree with you in the two front yard confusion. You know, two front yards because there's an intersection of two streets. Does it mean it's going to be in the front yard? I've been on these boards for a long time, and I still have to give it some thought. And it's funny that we had two front yards tonight, because we do have some ordinances that prohibit different things in a front yard. So I understand the confusion completely.
Yeah, that's the only thing I had. Thank you.
Sure.
I was just going to add that I forget that people don't get all the same information that we get also, yeah.
It's true.
Okay, no more public comment? Board and staff comments. Jody?
We will be having a meeting next month. I do have an item already submitted. The meeting is August 5th.
Mr. Goldsmith?
I have no information for you. Everything's
Mr.
running
Kohler.
smoothly.
I have nothing other than Jody did an exceptional job this month.
Yes, she's still working on it, too. Mr. Steiner, you have anything?
I thought she did every month.
Yeah.
She does.
Jody, I will have to let you know at a future date, but I'm not sure on August 5. So maybe talk to Arvin and who's, Marianne, is it still? Just tell them that it's a possibility, so then, okay. Other than that, that's all.
Mr. Zivak?
I have nothing.
Mr. Lake?
Well, have a happy and safe 4th, everybody.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Nothing that's not been said already.
Okay, well, I'll echo those words. And with that, I'm going to call for an adjournment. Thank you very much.